All right, let's dive right in and look at this massive paradox, a remarkably small island that somehow packs an absolute powerhouse of a global punch. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to unpack the cinematic blueprint of Singapore. We're looking at a place that has completely transformed itself from a humble fishing village into, honestly, one of the world's greatest modern success stories. It's this incredibly unique global metropolis where futuristic sci-fi architecture literally rises up out of tropical rainforests.
So you kind of have to ask yourself, right? What exactly makes Singapore so famous all over the world? Is it that shimmering, futuristic skyline that looks like it was just pulled straight out of a movie? Is it the famously spotless streets? Or maybe it's that highly intentional, perfect blend of wild nature and modern city life that manages to draw millions of international travelers every single year, which is wild when you remember this is literally one of the smallest countries on the map.
Honestly, the sheer statistical impressiveness of this island nation is just staggering. Take a look at these benchmarks. Nearly half of the entire country is covered in green space. We're talking parks, sprawling nature reserves, and tree-lined streets, which has definitely earned it the well-deserved nickname, the City in Nature. On top of that, you've got 4 official languages, showcasing this incredibly diverse population where cultures from all across Asia seamlessly blend together. And fundamentally, and this is a big reason why the standard of living here is so renowned, it is consistently ranked among the absolute safest, cleanest, and most efficient destinations on the entire planet. It's essentially this pristine, hyper-efficient utopia built right inside a lush tropical ecosystem.
Think of this explainer as your personal map to the city of the future. Today, we're going to break this down into 4 key pillars: the blueprint of tomorrow, the living city, the human element, and waterfront escapes.
Okay, starting off with pillar number 1, the blueprint of tomorrow, focusing on modern infrastructure. We absolutely have to start with Marina Bay Sands. It is without a doubt a global symbol of modern architecture and luxury living. If you've seen a picture of Singapore, you've seen this building. It's an absolute engineering marvel, made up of 3 towering hotel blocks that are all connected at the very top by this massive sky-high observation deck. Up there, completely suspended high above the shimmering city skyline, is one of the most famous infinity pools in the entire world. Its silhouette has basically become one of the most photographed skylines globally. It just perfectly encapsulates Singapore's vision of progress, It's where top-tier luxury, incredibly bold design, and everyday urban life come together in perfect balance.
And if you want to talk about innovative spirit, well, just look at Jewel Changi Airport. Think about how most airports feel for a second. They're usually stressful, sterile, and you're just rushing to get out. Singapore completely flips that script. Right at the dead center of the airport is the rain vortex, which is literally the world's tallest indoor waterfall. It is surrounded by walking trails, hanging gardens, and this breathtaking futuristic glass architecture. They've essentially taken your standard, boring airport layover and transformed it into a totally immersive, calming, cinematic experience before you've even stepped foot outside into the city. It really sets the tone for the country's entire approach to blending brilliant design with absolute comfort.
But the infrastructure here isn't just about pouring concrete and putting up glass panes. The Super Tree Grove at Gardens by the Bay is a prime example of this. These are these massive, towering vertical gardens that seamlessly blend high-end technology with nature. And the coolest part? They aren't just there to look pretty. They actually feature integrated, energy-efficient sustainability systems. Then, when the sun goes down, they transform the night sky into this glowing, sci-fi masterpiece of synchronized light and sound. It's a living, breathing vision of how cities of the future can and should blend sustainability with visionary design, which cascades perfectly into pillar number 2, the living city, where we explore the city's beauty and nature. So here we can juxtapose 2 incredibly different but equally amazing approaches to how Singapore handles nature. On one hand, you have high-tech nature. Take the cloud forest at Gardens by the Bay, for example. It is this otherworldly, misty indoor mountain with cascading waterfalls completely contained inside a vast glass dome. It is highly engineered and absolutely breathtaking. But then, on the flip side, you have these immersive habitats, like the world-renowned Singapore Zoo and Night Safari.
They use an open concept design there. So instead of your traditional depressing metal cages, they use natural barriers, things like water streams, rock formations, and thick vegetation. It ends up feeling way more like a grounded, cage-free wildlife expedition than a conventional zoo, which just goes to show their deep commitment to both innovation and global wildlife conservation.
But hey, the city's profound connection to the natural world isn't just some modern, high-tech trend they recently adopted. For over 160 years, the Singapore Botanic Gardens has stood right there as a peaceful UNESCO World Heritage Site. It serves as this really rare, living reminder that even a hyper-modern, fast-paced global metropolis can remain deeply and historically connected to its natural roots. It gives everyone these incredible spaces for peaceful reflection right in the middle of the city's hustle.
Moving right along to pillar number 3, the human element, focusing on the cultural way of life.
The moment you step foot into Chinatown, you are immediately hit with this complete sensory symphony. It is a tightly woven urban fabric packed with historic, super colorful shophouses and traditional medicine shops. Walk down streets like Smith Street and the scent of sizzling hawker street food, we're talking everything from perfectly roasted meats to fresh dumplings, just completely fills the air. And right at the center of all that vibrant chaos sits the iconic Buddha Tooth Relic Temple. It's an area that firmly anchors this thoroughly modern metropolis in deep, authentic Chinese tradition. Then, just a really short distance away, Little India hits you with an entirely different but equally vibrant kind of energy. The scent of fresh flower garlands, rich spices, and burning incense is just everywhere. You can go visit the incredibly ornate Sri Veeramakaliamman temple, browse through shops selling brilliant gold jewelry and textiles, and then sit down to eat some absolutely incredible, authentic South Indian meals served up traditional style right on banana leaves. And oh, if you happen to visit during Deepavali, the streets completely transform into this glowing neon festival of light. It really proves that multicultural tradition here isn't just a museum exhibit, it is actively, enthusiastically lived every single day. And I think this point right here brilliantly illustrates why Singapore's way of life is so widely admired across the globe. History here is not just preserved behind a pane of glass in some quiet room. It is actively lived out on every single street through the food, the commerce, and the community. By embracing their 4 distinct official languages and actively celebrating all these diverse festivals and traditions side by side, Singapore has managed to forge an incredibly harmonious, engaging, and remarkably safe society. Every street you turn down offers a mix of culture and community that just feels entirely authentic.
And that brings us to our 4th and final pillar, waterfront escapes.
You could honestly trace the entire city's evolution, from a humble fishing village to an international hub, in just a single day by the water. Start your morning by catching the sunrise at Merlion Park, taking in that iconic half-lion, half-fish statue that represents Singapore's origins. Then in the afternoon, hop on a scenic cable car and take an expansive ride over to Sentosa, which is Singapore's dedicated island retreat, for some coastal relaxation on the sands of Palawan Beach. Finally, you can cap off your evening surrounded by the dynamic, neon-lit, restored historic warehouses of Clarke Quay, where the city's rich history and vibrant nightlife perfectly intersect right along the Singapore River. But even when you move away from the waterfront and head inland to the retail core, that exact same intentionality in design is still everywhere. Just a simple walk down Orchard Road showcases this meticulous urban planning. This area is the heartbeat of Singapore's modern lifestyle culture. And what's really fascinating here isn't just the sheer number of world-class malls or the luxury brands. It's how incredibly accessible and walkable the whole thing is. The entire street is seamlessly connected through these highly thoughtful underground walkways and smart urban planning. It is just a perfect example of how the city's hyper-efficient infrastructure directly elevates the high standard of living for its people every single day.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. In a city that so perfectly harmonizes futuristic, highly sustainable infrastructure, incredibly lush natural beauty, and a deeply authentic, sensory-rich way of life, which side of this cinematic blueprint would you want to explore first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.